Oracle multi-tenant is an option with Oracle Database 12c that simplifies database consolidation, provisioning, patching, upgrade, and management. So basically, it is an option in Oracle Database, and it simplifies database consolidation. It's mainly for database consolidation, and also simplifies provisioning. You can quickly provision the database, and simplifies patching. You can patch your database very easily and upgrade the database, and even database management also becomes very easy. And Oracle multi-tenant is a separately licensed option. You should have Oracle database license and also license for Oracle multi-tenant option. So it is a separately licensed option. So let us move forward and see more about multi-tenant architecture. Before we see multi-tenant architecture, let us see the old approach, the traditional approach to deploy Oracle databases and manage Oracle databases. Traditionally, we used to deploy different databases for different applications. Suppose I have HR application, I will have a dedicated database to that. I have sales application, I have a dedicated database to that. I have finance application, I have a dedicated database to that. So this way, you, for a period of time, you deploy, you create many databases to host different applications. And of course, so sometimes you may share the same database with multiple applications. That is also there. But most of the time, it is our practice, it is our approach to create a separate database for separate applications, separate projects, separate use case. So with this, what is happening over a period of time, you end up creating multiple databases. Suppose an organization may have 100 databases. Another organization may have 500 databases. Another organization may have 1,000 databases. So end of the day, you have many databases, probably deployed on multiple servers. And you need to manage all these databases. So your management effort increases. So to manage, say, 1,000 databases, you need a big DBA team, probably 10 to 20 DBAs. And not only that, for day-to-day management, you have to spend a lot of effort. Suppose I want to back up these 1,000 databases. Now every day I need to run 1,000 backups. Of course, we may automate using different tools, but ultimately you are performing 1,000 backups. Not only backup, you want to apply a patch. Now, how many times you need to apply? 1,000 times. You need to upgrade. How many times? 1,000 times. So everything multiplies by the number of databases. So that way your management effort increases. And indirectly, many databases would mean many servers. Your hardware increases. You need a lot of space in the data center, which will add up to your cost. So from management perspective, that's not a good news. So this is the old approach. Now, what is the solution to this? How do we address these pain points? That is where a new approach with the multi-tenant architecture comes into picture. So let us see what is that new approach. The new approach is, instead of deploying individual databases, you consolidate and manage as one database, like this. Now you have one database, and we consolidated all the databases into a single database. So this is the new approach. But how is this possible? This, okay, is possible with the multi-tenant architecture. So with multi-tenant architecture, this traditional approach where you have separated database for separate application can be represented like this. You will have one database which contains other databases. So this one database which contains other databases is called a container database, CDB. These other databases are called pluggable databases. So with multi-tenant architecture, you create a container database which includes multiple pluggable databases. Each pluggable database is nothing but your Oracle database only. But now this Oracle database is contained inside a container database. Now from outside world, container database is a single database. But inside it has multiple databases. So when you want to manage, you manage them together as a single database. And that is our advantage with multi-tenant architecture. Multi-tenant architecture allows you to create container databases. A container database includes pluggable database. A pluggable database is nothing but the regular Oracle database. Only thing is now it is inside the container database. And all these pluggable databases are managed together now because they are inside one container database. So that way, instead of deploying these many databases, say these are around 10 databases or 11 databases. Now I deployed only one container database. I created only one container database and created these databases as pluggable databases inside this container database. So that way I consolidated them. Before consolidation, I had 10 or 11 individual databases. Now after consolidation with the multi-tenant architecture, I have one container database. Before consolidation, I need to manage 10 databases separately. Now after consolidation, I need to manage one container database. Similarly, backup. Before consolidation, 10 backups. After consolidation, one backup. Before consolidation, 10 patches. Now one patch. 10 upgrades, one upgrade. So that way, your effort reduces by the number of databases. Earlier, before consolidation, your management effort increases by a factor of the number of databases. Because you have only one container database, one container database requires one server. In earlier scenario, you have deployed 10 databases, maybe on 10 different servers, or even if you deploy 2 databases on one single server, you need 5 servers. So more cost, and you need more space in the data center where you host all these servers. So that way, your cost indirectly increases. Now I deployed a container database on a single server. I don't need much space. Of course, this server should be powerful enough to power all these databases. It should have more CPU, more memory, more storage. Because it is not one database now, multiple databases acting as one, sharing all these server resources. So this is what multi-tenant architecture allows you to do. You can consolidate all your databases and manage them together as a single database. So when you deploy multi-tenant architecture, you create a container database and you create a pluggable databases. So that is the new norm now going forward. So another slide which shows the container database. You have multiple databases managed as one, but single instance, all sharing this single instance. So when you consolidate, there is sharing of resources. Many resources are shared. Of course, though they are shared, you can control the amount of resources that can be used by a database. If you don't control, one rogue database may consume all the available resources and denying those resources to the other databases. That will have impact on other databases. Though you consolidate, though you share resources, you can have control on each database consumption. Suppose in this picture, you can see you have 3 pluggable databases. These are all PDBs, CRM, HCM, ERP. Like that, you can have many other PDBs. Now you have one instance, one SCA, one set of background processes, which are shared among all these PDBs. With the sharing, you can effectively utilize the resources. When you deploy one database on a server, most of the time the server resources are idle, underutilized. So you are not utilizing your resources to the full capacity. Now when you consolidate, if one database is idle, other databases may be doing work. So one or the other database will use these idle resources and get benefit. So that way you are utilizing your resources properly. Instead of keeping them idle for most of part of the day, you are utilizing your resources. Consolidation also has some challenges. And one of the challenges, if a database consumes all the resources, other databases will be impacted. So you have solutions to address all these kind of issues. When Oracle introduced the multi-tenant architecture, they have thought through all these things, what would be the challenges when you consolidate, and included all such features to control the resource consumptions and various other factors. So at a PDB level, you can control how much memory a PDB can consume, how much storage a PDB can consume, how much CPU a PDB can consume. So you can control all these things. There are some initialization parameters to control this. And of course, you can use Oracle Database Resource Manager, which allocates and controls the resources among different databases deployed on the server. So with all these features, you can effectively consolidate all your databases and effectively manage the resources allocated to individual databases. So this is not new to us. Consolidation is not new to us. Every day in real life, we consolidate many things. That is part and parcel of our day-to-day life also. So this is best example of the consolidation. On one side, you have independent villas, right? Independent houses. On the other side, we have apartment. Apartment is a consolidation. Now, for outside world, apartment is a single house, single building, but inside you have multiple houses. So this is exactly what multi-tenant architecture does. It allows you to consolidate otherwise individual databases into a single database called a container database. And now these databases have a new term called pluggable databases. And now, just to extend this real life example, when you consolidate, few things are common or shared, and a few things are separate. In apartment, what are common things? Lift is a common service. Security is a common service. Water supply is a common service. So that way, when you consolidate, few things can be common, shared among all the consolidated databases. Few things are separate, individual database. Suppose in an apartment, electricity connection. Every house has individual connection. Based on your consumption, you pay the bill. So that way, when you consolidate, there are few common, there are few separate things. In a container database, there are common things. For example, you have something called a common user, common role, common objects. So anything common means available to every database. On the other side, you have a local. You have a local user, you have a local role, you have a local object. Local means available in a particular database, available to only that database. not shared with other databases. So all the common ones, all the shared resources must be in a common database. In a container database, one database is a common database. It is called a root database. So when you create a container database, a root database will be created automatically. A root database is a common database which stores common phenomena, which could be a common user, common role, common object, which are shared to other databases in the container database. So how this is possible? How do you consolidate? By now you understood. This consolidation is possible using Oracle Database multi-tenant architecture. With multi-tenant architecture, you can consolidate and manage it together. You create container databases, you create pluggable databases, and you manage all these things together. So let us see the architecture of multi-tenant option. So basically, in simple words, in layman terminology, multi-tenant architecture allows you to create databases inside a database, allowing database consolidation. This is what it does. So you have the database, just to visually represent, this is the container database. Inside this, we have many other databases. These are pluggable databases. Each database can be dedicated to one or more applications. So from application perspective, they don't know that they are using a pluggable database which is inside the container database. Applications are not aware of this fact. For application, it is the same regular Oracle database. It doesn't make any difference. But from a DBA perspective, from management perspective, this database is a pluggable database, which is hosted inside the container database. And you can go on creating many pluggable databases. How many pluggable databases you can create in a container database? It depends on whether you are deploying on-premises environment or in cloud environment. Again, you are deploying on generic hardware or Exadata hardware. There are different factors that influence. We'll see that slide also. So now to put it together, multi-tenant architecture enables an Oracle database to function as a multi-tenant container database, CDB, that includes 0, 1, or more customer-created pluggable databases, PDBs. When you create a container database, by default, it won't have any PDBs. It has some databases, as I told you, common database will be always created. That is called a root database. But otherwise, there are no user-created PDBs. You can create PDBs while creating container database or later. And Oracle gives you many methods to create a PDB. Different methods are available to you to create a PDB. Now, multi-tenant architecture introduces new terms, container database and pluggable database. And we are already became familiar with these terms by now. Now this is the container database and it contains other databases. So starting 20C, a database must contain other databases or should be contained in another database. That is the rule. So it cannot be created as a individual database. It should be a container database or it should be a pluggable database. So everything revolves around CDBs and the PDBs from 20C. Now these individual ones are pluggable databases. So what is the advantage of container database? By now you must have understood. With a container database, you manage many databases as one single database. You will have one backup, one patch to apply, one upgrade to do. When you upgrade the container database, all the pluggable databases are upgraded simultaneously. So you don't need to upgrade them separately. So your upgrade effort reduces. Of course, you have to plan the upgrade because you have many databases. So all the databases should go for the upgrade at the same time. So you have to see which databases, which applications can fit such requirements. So your planning should be proper, because in real time, every application owner may not accept the database upgrade with other databases, right? Different applications, different SLAs, different business requirements. So you have to consolidate all those databases that can go together in terms of upgrade, in terms of patch, or in terms of management. Every database may not fit into the same group. So you have to analyze your databases. Suppose you have 1,000 databases. Out of 1,000, 10 databases are similar management. So I will put them in one container database. Another 50 databases follow different management style. They follow similar management style. Their patching, their upgrade, or their backups are very similar. So I will group them into another container database. Another 100 databases follow same approach. So those 100 databases into another container database. Or you may create multiple container databases. You don't need to put all these 100 eggs in one basket. Though Oracle allows you to do that, you decide based on your business requirements and management requirements. Even though all 100 databases follow similar approach, it doesn't mean that you have to put them in one single container. You may create 10 container databases and put 10 databases into each of these 10 container databases. So ultimately, planning is important here. And technically, Oracle allows you to consolidate up to 4,096 PDBs into one single container database. You want to put all 4,096 databases into one CDB, or 100 CDBs, or 10 CDBs. It is your decision. Oracle supports up to 4,096 PDBs in a single container database. So planning is important when you deploy multi-tenant architecture and when you migrate to multi-tenant architecture. And the multi-tenant also allows you individual management, not in all areas. Some areas, if you want, you can manage individual. Suppose I want to take one PDB backup. I'm making some changes to one of the PDB. Before that change, I want to have a backup of this PDB. You can do that. That is possible. And now I want to apply patch to only one PDB. Other PDBs are not ready for patching. That is also possible. There is an indirect method to do that. You can create another container database, move this PDB to other container database, and patch that. Similarly, you use the same approach to upgrading also. Suppose now I have 6 PDBs in this container database, and I want to upgrade, but other 5 PDBs, these owners are not accepting. They have some critical work going on. They don't want to upgrade their databases now. But one guy is crying for upgrade. They want to upgrade to take advantage of new features. So immediately I must upgrade one PDB, but not other PDBs. So what is the approach? You create another container database, move this PDB to the other container database, and upgrade that. So you have solutions, you have options to individually address or individually manage the databases. But again, you are going out of the consolidation approach. Why you are consolidating? To make your life easy, to make management easy. But sometimes you feel comfortable when you manage it as individual. So all the options are available. You have to choose what to do, how to do, and plan for this. Now, by now you understood a container database contains multiple databases. Now here you see there are 3 databases. As I told you, a container database will have a common database called a root database, also called as a root container. So when you create a container database, the root database is always created. and you have PDBs. Suppose for HR application, I created HR PDB. For sales application, I created sales PDB. And all these databases share single database instance. You have only one database instance, which is shared among all the PDBs. And another important point is, at a physical level, every PDB has its own files, its own table spaces. For example, you can see HR PDB has its own data files, system sysocs undo temp file, and HR PDB file. And a DBA may create additional files, additional table spaces in the PDB to host the application data. Similarly, sales PDB has its own files, system file, sysocs file, undo file, temp file, and a sales PDB file to store sales application data. And the PDB administrator, sales PDB administrator, can create additional table spaces as required. And you have the root database. Root is a common database, right? End of the day, root is also an Oracle database. It will have its own files, system sysocs undo temp. Now, interesting point is, root also has online UDOLAB files, control files, which are shared among all other PDBs. So any shared object is in root. That is a fundamental concept, right? In container database, PDBs will not have online UDOLAB files and a control file. These are shared. Because of that, online UDOLAB files and control files are in the root. PDBs will have only data files. So that is what you need to understand. Now, with this architecture, we can have two different roles. One is CDB administrator, container database administrator, who is responsible for creating container databases, managing the container database, starting, shutdown, backup, upgrade, patch, and anything, the overall management of the container database. Now, you can also have another role called PDB administrator, PDB admin. Individual PDBs can have individual administrators. Suppose I have a separate admin for HR PDB. I can designate separate admin for sales PDB. So with the multi-tenant architecture with a container database, you can have two DBA roles, CDB administrator role that is responsible for overall container database administration, and PDB administrator role that is responsible for individual PDB management. A PDB administrator can perform a subset of DBA tasks. Not every task can be performed by PDB administrator. CDB administrator can perform all the tasks, but PDB specific tasks can be performed by the PDB administrator. Suppose a PDB administrator typically manages one particular database, one particular PDB, like creating additional table spaces in that PDB, creating local users in the PDB, creating local tables in the PDB, managing the local privileges, and all that. So that way, you can have two different roles, CDB administrator role and PDB administrator role. Now, to take this architecture to more deep technical level, I have one slide which shows you the technical architecture of the container database. You have two parts here. This red box is the container database. This one, this dotted one, rectangle is the instance. So you have instance, you have database. Instance is same. Container database instance is same as regular database instance. So instance has SGA and background processes and other foreground processes connected and other files loaded into the memory and all that. Now, coming to the database, this is what makes the difference. Container database has many databases. You have root database, which is there in every container database. Root database has a fixed name, CDB $root, and you have PDBs. And you have a PDB called seed PDB. Again, seed PDB is Oracle created, and seed PDB is created in every container database. Remaining all user created PDBs. So you have PDB_1, so on PDB_n. These are all user created PDBs. But this root and seed, whose name is PDB$seed, are created automatically by Oracle when you create the container database. So every container database will be created with the root and the seed. Root you understood. Root is an Oracle database that stores the common objects, common metadata that is shared with all the PDBs in the container database. So root will have its own files to store the common objects metadata and all that, right? So root has its own files. Root has system sysocs, undo temp and other files. Root also contains control files, redo log files, and other files like flashback logs, archived logs, change tracking files, and other files like password files, wallet files, and all those things. So the root has its own files. Now, what is PDB seed, which I just introduced to you? Seed is a template PDB used to create your own PDBs. PDBs can be created using different methods. The basic method is create from seed. So that way, seed is a template database which is provided to you to quickly create your PDBs. You cannot modify seed, and seed is pre-created in every container database. So because seed is also a database, it will have its own files, system, sysocs, undo, temp, and all that. Then you have user created PDBs. And every PDB is a database. Every PDB has its own file, system, sysocs, undo, temp, and other application files. Now, next thing is, let us see the data dictionary in a container database. Data dictionary is created in every database. Root has data dictionary, seed has data dictionary, every PDB has data dictionary created. The common objects are created in root only, and the metadata about these common objects is stored in the root data dictionary one, and they are all shared with PDBs as required. To allow for that sharing, PDB data dictionary have internal links referring to the data dictionary in the root. You have different links, metadata link, which allows to refer to the metadata in the root, data link or object link, which allow the PDB to access the objects, common objects in the root. Suppose you have obj$ table, which is a data dictionary table. Obj$ table stores objects information that you create or Oracle created. Now obj$ table is there in root, in PDB seed, in PDB1, in PDBn. But the metadata about obj$ table will be stored only in root. So you see, these are all empty. Obj$ tables in the PDBs are empty initially. Where is the metadata about obj$ table? In root. If PDBs need to refer to this metadata, they use internal metadata link to get the metadata from the root. So that way, data dictionary tables are created in every PDB, but the metadata about these data dictionary tables, in other words, Oracle supplied objects, are stored only in the root. And as required, PDBs can refer to this metadata using metadata links, which are internally created, automatically managed by Oracle. Similarly, the common objects, Oracle creates various other tables, various other users, various roles. Suppose a system user is created in every database. In a non-container database, if you create 10 databases, each database has system user. And the metadata about this user is stored in the database. Now in container database, all these Oracle created common objects. These are all common objects. All the objects created by Oracle when you newly created database are common. For example, you have common users, common roles. Now you have a DBA role. If you create a non-container database, if you create 10 databases, DBA role is created in all these 10 databases. That role metadata is stored in all these 10 databases. But in container database, DBA role is a common role. Because it must exist in every PDB, Oracle doesn't create in every PDB. It will be created in only root. And the metadata is stored in only root. If PDB needs information, it will refer to root. Similarly, Oracle creates many other users, roles, tables during the installation, right? So instead of creating all of them in every individual PDB, those are all created in the root and shared with other PDBs internally using metadata link or data link or object link. Then what is stored in the PDB data dictionary? When you create a table inside the PDB, that is a local table. The table will be created in the PDB and the metadata is also stored in the PDB data dictionary. Initially, PDB data dictionary will be empty because all the metadata for Oracle supplied objects is stored in root. Now, when you create a new object in the PDB, the object will be created inside the PDB and the object metadata is also stored in the PDB dictionary. So that way, the data dictionary is split and common objects, metadata about these common objects will be created only in the root and shared with all other PDBs using links, data dictionary links. There are different types of links. Basically, you have metadata link, which allows metadata sharing, and object links are also called as data links, which allows the objects to be shareable among PDBs. And in container database, Oracle introduced a new set of views that start with the CDB underscore. In non-container database, you have views, data dictionary views. Many of these views, they start with DBA underscore. Some start with all underscore, some start with user underscore, right? You have 3 sets of views that show 3 levels of information. Now in container database, there are new set of views that start with the CDB underscore, which shows overall container database level information. Information may be pertaining to all the PDBs. So if I want to see how many data files are there in my container database, all the data files belonging to different PDBs, I can query CDB views. It will show information about all the databases. And when you create users, you can create a common users, you can create a local users. Common user is created in the root, shared with all the PDBs. Common user can connect to any PDB as long as the privilege is there for the common user. What privilege is required to connect to a PDB? Create a session privilege. So a common user exists in every PDB. On the other hand, you have a local user. A local user is created in a PDB and exists only in that PDB. So that way, in container database, you have something called a common phenomena, which is created in the root. You have something called local phenomena, which is created in the PDB. Common phenomena is managed by the CDB administrators. Local phenomena is managed by PDB administrator. Of course, CDB administrator also can do that. And you have listener, you need one listener. You don't need to create separate listeners for each of these PDBs, because from outside world, it is one single database. Container database is a one single database, but inside it has multiple pluggable databases. So when you start one listener, which is the default listener, your CDB will register with the listener, each PDB will register with the listener. For every PDB, there is a default service created, whose name is same as the PDB name. And this default service will register with the listener. So clients who wants to connect to the PDBs must use these service names in their configuration file, TNS names.var. So that way, the architecture is a little bit different from the regular architecture. Now, pluggable database. A pluggable database is an Oracle database, which is dedicated to one application or one or more applications. Now, what is this term pluggable? Why it is called now pluggable database? Instead of calling database, why Oracle is calling pluggable database? There is a reason behind it. A pluggable database can be unplugged and plugged, allowing you the portability. So you can unplug a pluggable database and plug. You can unplug from one container database and plug into another container database. That way it allows portability. You can quickly move from one container to another container. Now suppose I have two container databases. They could be on the same server on different servers. It doesn't matter. Now in the first container database, I have HR, sales, finance, PDBs. In the other one, we have ERP, SCM. Now I want to unplug finance from the container 1 and plug into container 2. I can do that. You just unplug it from CDB1, container database 1, and plug into CDB2. It's a less effort, and quickly you can move your PDBs from one container to another container. Sometimes you may want to do this. As I told you, one classic example is you don't want to patch or upgrade one of the PDB, but you want to do on other PDBs. So what is the approach? You move it to another container. So in that case, what you do? You unplug it. Just one command is a alter pluggable database fin unplug. Okay, into. So one command will unplug it. It's not a complicated process. And again, you plug it with another command. So just with the two commands, you do this operation. It doesn't matter these container databases are on the same server or different physical server. Your unplug and plug operators are very quick, rapid. Assume if you want to do this on non-container database, you want to move one non-container database to a different server, how much effort you would require. Next, so having understood the pluggable database, now how many PDBs you can create in a CDB? This is one obvious question, right? Now, as I told you, it depends on different things. First of all, the edition, the software edition, whether you are using Enterprise Edition, SE2, Standard Edition 2. Second thing is, you are deploying on-premises environment or in the Oracle Cloud. Third thing is, whether you are deploying on generic hardware or Exadata hardware. So three factors come into play now. Now the first three options are for on-premises environment. In on-premises environment, you have Standard Edition 2, SE2 and Enterprise Edition. If you are installing SE2, you can create up to 3 PDBs in a container database. If you are installing Enterprise Edition, you can create up to 252 PDBs. These two on generic hardware. If you deploy Enterprise Edition on Exadata system, Exadata hardware, you can have up to 4096 PDBs. The next options are cloud-based, Oracle cloud-based. In cloud, Oracle offers different services. you have DBCS, Database Cloud Service. You have ExaCS, Exadata Cloud Service. Now again under DBCS, in Cloud Oracle offers different editions. DBCS SE, Standard Edition. DBCS E, Enterprise Edition. DBCS EHP, Enterprise Edition, High Performance. Then lastly you have DBCS EEP, Enterprise Edition, Extreme Performance. Now you can see the number of PDBs. For SE and EE in the cloud, you can create only 3 PDBs. But for HP and EP, you can create up to 4096 PDBs. The second service is Exadata Cloud Service, which allows again 4096 PDBs. So that way, minimum you can create 3, maximum you can create up to 4096. That is 4K number of PDBs. And another interesting thing is, starting 20C, only multi-tenant architecture is supported. The regular architecture is de-supported. Now that means every customer, if they want to migrate to 20, the only migration is to container database. You must migrate to only container database architecture. So that means every customer must purchase license for multi-tenant, because as I mentioned in the beginning of this slide, multi-tenant is a separately licensed option. However, every customer doesn't need to purchase the license. If you are deploying up to 3 PDBs in a CDB, you don't need a multi-tenant license. So for all offerings, you can have 3 user-created PDBs in a given CDB without requiring multi-tenant license. So if you want to deploy more than 3 PDBs in a CDB, then only you would require to purchase a license for multi-tenant option. Otherwise, you don't need to purchase. Suppose I have 9 databases. I don't need to purchase a license if I want to create 3 container databases. I will create 3 container databases. In each database, I will create 3 pluggable databases. So all my 9 databases are adapted into the container database without me requiring to purchase multi-tenant option. So you decide how you want to consolidate. So in this case, you may consolidate only 3 databases together. And you may need to create more container databases. If you want to increase the consolidation density, suppose I want to consolidate 100 databases. So in that case, I must obviously purchase a multi-tenant license. So that way, it is still beneficial to customers to use a multi-tenant option, because you can still consolidate up to 3 databases. But you must use only multi-tenant now, starting 20C. So by now, you must have understood the benefits of multi-tenant architecture. Let us summarize the benefits of multi-tenant architecture. High consolidation density. Just now we saw you can consolidate up to 4096 PDBs. Probably all your databases can be consolidated into one single CDB. Of course, it depends on your planning. Manage many as one. Once you consolidate, next obvious thing is you want to manage them together as one database. So multi-tenant architecture allows you to do that. One backup, one patch, one upgrade, and rapid provisioning and cloning. You can provision PDBs very quickly and clone PDBs very quickly. PDB is a database, an Oracle database dedicated to an application. So once you create the container database, provisioning PDBs is just 1 or 2 minutes job. If you want to create a PDB, it doesn't take more than 1 minute. Just you will run command, create a pluggable database, HR. That's it. That's the command. And just wait for 1 minute, your PDB is created. Similarly, if I want to clone a PDB, it takes 1 or 2 minutes. Create a pluggable database PDB1 from PDB2. In non-container database, if you want to provision a database, how much time it takes? Half an hour. If you want to clone a database, how much time it takes? Lot of time. So with the PDBs, you can provision and clone very rapidly. And similarly, that can extend to patching and upgrades also. You can patch all the PDBs together in one shot and reduce the time. If you want to patch them separately, suppose you have 100 databases in non-container architecture, and you need to apply 100 patches, how much effort, how much time it would require? Now in a container architecture, you consolidate all these things into one CDB and one patch. Similarly, upgrade. So that way, many things become very easy now in multi-tenant architecture. Then again, resource management. Though you consolidate, you have the flexibility to assign resources to each PDB and control the resource consumption of each PDB. Next, deprecation notice. You know, Oracle has deprecated a non-container architecture in 12.2 release itself. So this is one snippet taken from the 12c release to upgrade guide about the deprecation notice of non-container architecture. So in 12.2 itself, the deprecation was announced by Oracle. It is clearly stating that the non-CDB architecture was deprecated in Oracle Database 12c. It can be desupported and unavailable in any release after Oracle Database 19c. As they mentioned, now starting 20c, they are desupporting non-CDB architecture, which is again explicitly stated in 20c upgrade document. Desupport notice. Earlier it was deprecate notice, now it is desupport notice in 20c. What is the statement? Starting with Oracle 20c, Oracle Database is only supported using multi-tenant architecture. So the writing is clear, and going forward it is only multi-tenant architecture. So this is the session for today. Just to summarize before we close this session, Oracle multi-tenant architecture is the architecture for the next generation database cloud and consolidation. So with DBCS, with ExaCS, and with autonomous offerings, you can create only container database and a pluggable database. And in on-premises also, starting 20c, it is enforced. And it is the underlying architecture for various Oracle Cloud Platform services. In Oracle Cloud, Oracle offers various database services. You have Autonomous Transaction Processing, ATP, ADW, Autonomous Data Warehouse Service. You have DBCS, Database Cloud Service, ExaCC, Exadata Cloud at Customer. So these are all the various database offerings in Oracle Cloud. All these offerings internally underlying use only multi-tenant architecture. Multi-tenant architecture delivers isolation, agility, and economies of scale. Existing databases can be adopted with no application changes. So if you have a non-container database, a 11G database, or a 12C non-container database, or an 18C non-container database, or 19C non-container database, you can convert to pluggable database. You can adopt the non-CDB to a PDB. And you don't need any application code changes, because end of the day for application, it is the same old Oracle database. Only thing is now it is inside a container database as a pluggable database. But it is the same old Oracle database. So that way you don't need any application code changes. Only thing is your application should point to the new PDB. So the connector string may be required to be changed. Otherwise, your code application business logic doesn't need any changes. Fully complements, and also Oracle guarantees non-CDB to PDB compatibility. And multi-tenant architecture fully complements other options like RAC data guard. You can implement a RAC for multi-tenant database, the container database. You can implement a data guard for the container database. You can even implement other options like database vault, level security, and other options which are there in the non-container database. Starting 20C, multi-tenant architecture is the only supported. So that's the session for you.